Thank you for tuning into Krushing Kayfabe. Once again, my name is Jason Garish, and today I'll be doing a solo show. Unfortunately, my co-host Matt Reeves is not available to be here today, so it's going to be just me. So it's probably going to be a pretty short show today. Originally, we had planned to put in our top 5 most underrated and overrated wrestlers of all time, and we'll probably be doing that next week, hopefully. But yeah, unfortunately, my co-host was unavailable, so it's gonna be just me tonight. And before we get into the show, I'd like to give a shout out, starting out with Lucky Lady Candle Company. Gentleman by the name of Brandon Bennett owns that, and he does soy candles. And you can find him on Etsy and Facebook. Once again, that's a Lucky Lady Candle Company. I've purchased some of his products. I purchased, I believe it was like a balsam fir type thing. It was a Christmassy scenting thing. I wanted people to think I actually could afford a real Christmas tree, so I purchased that. And also I got a fire starter from him, which worked amazing. So I actually used that not too long ago. Prayers are going out to Jim Ross. Skin cancer, apparently had is being treated for melanoma. So definitely that was something that my father had. So my prayers are definitely going out to him and his family, and hopefully makes a swift recovery. Prayers going out to Moxley. If you saw AEW Dynamite last week, you heard a great promo from CM Punk talking about Moxley. John Moxley is in an inpatient rehabilitation program right now, and thoughts and prayers go out to him and his wife Renee. Hopefully we'll be seeing him back on television very soon, because I applaud his for lack of a better word, moxie. I applaud his bravery for going into inpatient, and that's a great thing for him, and he'll come out better for it, and that took a lot of courage. So prayers out to him, and hopefully he has I almost said speedy recovery, but there really isn't a recovery for alcoholism. It's just an ongoing thing that a lot of people struggle with. I know I've been straight edge for about 18 years now, and I never really had an issue, but looking back, it's something that I'm very glad I did and made that choice for a lifestyle, because definitely I feel a lot healthier, and got a little bit more bank in my pocket because of it. So I'm not spending it on crazy amounts of alcohol. So yeah, definitely prayers go out to John Moxley and his beautiful wife and child. And prayers going out to I'm probably gonna massacre this name, but Tina O'Tinter. That is the young woman that Henry Ruggs killed in a car accident. Henry Ruggs was a receiver. He was released of the Las Vegas Raiders, and really horrible circumstances there. And definitely want to send prayers out to her and her family, I should say, because that was a really, really, really horrible thing that happened. And I am a Raiders fan, so obviously it impacted me and impacted the team, and it didn't surprise me that they had a bland performance against the Giants, because that's a lot to absorb, everything that they've gone through this season. But hopefully they'll be on the winning track soon again, because that was a very promising athlete that looked like he was going to have a long, productive career ahead of him, and some stupid decisions really just ended that real quickly. So unfortunately, someone lost their life, and so did the dog. The woman's dog apparently was in the car too, so the dog was killed too, unfortunately. So prayers go out to them. I really don't even have words to express for that. It's a horrible, horrible thing. But like I said, initially we had planned to come out with our top 5 underrated and overrated for wrestlers of all time. Unfortunately, I'm going to hold off on that just because I'd like my co-host to be here to go through that, because I think that would be much more entertaining. I'd love to hear his ideas on that, because I'm very interested to see who he put on his list. But I'm hoping we'll cover that next week. If not, we'll cover another great topic. But Obviously, a big news right now is the WWE releases. I mean, another proverbial bus flip occurred, and some very prominent names on that, one of which was Nia Jax, who kind of shocked me to start off with, but it was something really, personally, I think had been a long time coming, because she has proven herself dangerous in the ring, and she's hurt so many people. She kind of made Becky's career after smashing her face open. Then Becky Lynch came back a lot stronger with a much better character because of it, but never should have happened in the first place. And it's really waiting for her to severely hurt somebody in the ring. She's had numerous people she's injured, and that's one that I hate to see anybody lose their job, but at the same time, I hate to see anybody get injured on the job also. So there's one that I'm actually kind of happy for. That was I think a long time coming, and probably should have happened a while ago. But I'm glad to see that. Hopefully she I was really, to tell you the truth, I was really hoping that she would improve her in-ring performance, and I was really hoping that she'd step up to the plate. But once again, like I said, she just continually hurt people out there, and yeah, it was just something that should have happened a while ago, in my opinion. So some of the releases I'm not so happy with are, well, I shouldn't say not so happy with. Two of the big ones, or three of the big ones, I should say, Karrion Kross, Scarlett Bordeaux, and Keith Lee were some that shocked me. I mean, I'm a really big Karrion Kross fan, and a rumor is that they had just decided to cut them because they weren't clicking with the crowd, but unfortunately, the gimmick that had worked with them, they had eliminated pretty much. So the gimmick that was working in NXT that worked so great for them, they pretty much did away with. So how they expected them then turned to bring that success over into the main roster, I don't know. I mean, creative really saddled Karrion Kross with some horrible booking in combination with horrible gimmicks. When you look at the fact that in his debut he jobbed out to Jeff Hardy, and then started coming out with this silly looking gladiator outfit, which obviously didn't fit his character in the least. I mean, he had a great one of the best entrances I've ever seen in wrestling with Scarlett Bordeaux. And that's the thing too, is they never should have broken those two apart ever, because they had obviously great chemistry. You know, I don't know if they're married currently or fiancé are engaged, I should say, but the fact that they broke those two up really ruined the gimmick and destroyed the entrance that Karrion had, which was getting over big time in NXT, and I don't understand why they didn't carry that over. I wonder if because it's a PG product, because it's a publicly traded company, they might have thought that the gimmick was a little too adult-oriented. And I completely understand that, but why sign them in the first place then? And why go through all the trouble to try to develop them into something that is beyond me, when you've just destroyed everything that worked for them in the past? And I would really like to see someone like that go to AEW and possibly feud with like a Malachi Black or even a Cody Rhodes just coming in. It seems like everybody feuds with Cody Rhodes when they first debut, but I think that would be a great thing to add to AEW. The other one, like I mentioned before, is Keith Lee. There's another one of my favorites that, once again, NXT was killing it, and it seemed like they had absolutely no idea what to do with him when they brought him up to the main roster. And that's a shame, because I really think this guy is a big guy, and I really think that that if given the time, he's got a ridiculous amount of charisma. I think he'd do extremely well in a main event scenario. I really do. I mean, the guy's huge. He's got almost like Dusty Rhodes level charisma, and would have done quite well, I think, in the main roster. I think there's another guy that they had absolutely no idea what to do with creatively, and in those situations, I think you just got to accentuate their own personalities with like what they should have done with Karrion Kross, and continue to do so. I mean, Keith Lee a little bit lesser extent, but Karrion Kross was very well proven on the Indies and in Impact, and I believe Lucha Underground. So there's absolutely no reason to even bring him into NXT initially. There's a person that they could have brought right up to the main roster and began really booking to the moon, in my opinion. I don't see any reason why you have to. Maybe bring him into NXT briefly just to teach him the style that WWE wrestles, and that's about it. And then bring him up with the gimmick. I mean, it often makes me wonder if they're, like, you look at guys like that, that have so much incredible potential, are there locker room issues? Are there personality issues? I mean, is it possible somebody was not getting along with Scarlett Bordeaux? I mean, I really can't even say. It's kind of baffles me, but yeah, those are some releases that really stick out in my mind. I know Ember Moon was also released, which that one I'm not really sure why that was also, because that seemed like to me to be like a really great pickup for them, which I don't understand. So, I mean, I'm thinking could be just that budgetary. They're looking, into the future. They're looking forward, and they're trying to cut out what they think won't work at the moment. So that's my guess as to why they're making these moves. I mean, at this point, AEW's roster is going to be so full of ex-WWE guys at this point that it's going to be bloated. I mean, I know Tony Khan can't sign all of these guys. I kind of hope he doesn't, because as it is, their roster is huge at this point. There's a lot of people on that roster. So going in and picking up all these WWE guys, I'm not sure that's something he can even do. Because they just don't have enough television time to develop storylines for all these people, but there's just too much talent there. I don't want to see it go wasted. I mean, even if you end up seeing them in New Japan or GCW or what MLW, even, one of those promotions, and at least for a little while, I think that would be fine. And who's to say that WWE won't work in the future with these people? I mean, as far as I know, there is no bad blood between any of these signings. But that's yet to be seen. I mean, so it'll be interesting. There's some really good talent there that I'm kind of sad to see go in some ways, but there you go. I'm really not going to go too deeply into the other releases, because it's some of them are kind of self-explanatory. I really just didn't know what to do with these. I know, if I'm not mistaken, John Morrison's either girlfriend or wife, I'm not sure, but she was released in the process too, which is kind of a weird one too, because she showed a lot of promise in other promotions. I know I'd watched her in Impact, and she looked like she had a well-developed gimmick and a good wrestling style that would have fit in well with WWE, but apparently it didn't. And once again, I think it's a situation where they just don't know where to put some of these people creatively, unfortunately. But sad situation. I hate to see anybody lose their jobs, but hopefully they can do much, much better somewhere else. Now that there are some viable alternatives to WWE, it would be great to see some of these people living up to their full potential. Because, like I said, I know, WWE is a PG product, and AEW is a 14 and above show. So someone like a Karrion Kross, I think, and Scarlett Bordeaux would fit in much more nicely, I think, into that roster, or even the GCW maybe. I think they'd prosper there, because then they'd have the shackles of the whole PG rating kind of lifted from them, so they can be much more creative. Because, like I said, the entrance that Karrion Kross had in NXT was absolutely perfect, and one of the best I've ever seen. Coming out with Scarlett Bordeaux to the entrance music and everything, it was absolutely perfect. It was great. So if we can get back to a situation like that, he'll prosper. There's no doubt in my mind. Great wrestler, great look, great talker. I don't see any reason why Karrion Kross shouldn't prosper at this point. Now, this is something that I kind of wish my co-host was here to discuss with, but the news of ROH releasing all of their talent. That's an interesting one. I mean, they had been kind of going and losing money for some time now, which ROH, to my understanding, hasn't folded. It's my understanding that they just basically are restructuring at this point, which is kind of weird because they have no talent now to restructure with. So that's kind of an oddball one. I'm not sure what Sinclair's strategy is with ROH. I'd be really interested to see what they're going to do. I mean, I know what I would like to see with Ring of Honor. I would like to see Tony Khan purchase Ring of Honor, and not to continue the promotion at all. I say kill the promotion. It's done. It's over. But the one thing that AEW lacks right now is history. So instantly, if they purchase Ring of Honor, they get that back library of bouts that they can pull from and put on a streaming service, which they're trying to establish now. They don't have any source of a streaming service other than Fight TV. So if they can get their own streaming service, start putting some of that back library on there, that would be fantastic, I think, because once you acquire that, now you've got video footage of AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Samoa Joe. I mean, the list just goes on and on of really successful wrestlers, really prominent wrestlers, some legendary wrestlers. You've got all the old matches from Bryan Danielson right there in Ring of Honor, which had some tremendous matches. I mean, CM Punk had some insanely good matches with Samoa Joe. They're really entertaining. That I'd like to see all of that stuff for historical reasons and entertainment purposes. I would love to see all that stuff get preserved. So if Tony Khan can purchase that and add that to a streaming service, I think that would be great. I mean, that would be a tremendous asset to AEW, I would think. I mean, so that's just my own personal opinion. I would love to see that happen. That's just my own personal hopes and dreams right there for AEW, at least. I think that would be very beneficial to them, so that they can build up some kind of tape library, so that when they do establish their streaming service, they have some material to draw from, rather than just the AEW past pay-per-views and events and Dynamite and Rampage. Now you add years and years of content with some very well established wrestlers, and I think that would help AEW out tremendously. I mean, that was kind of one of my hopes when AEW was founded. I was kind of hoping they'd gobble up some of these other. I know that sounds horrible, because that's kind of the strategy that Vince McMahon took, and maybe that's why Tony Khan has stayed away from that. But if a company's going under like ROH and is in serious jeopardy of losing out, please, save the history that they've had, because there are some really super matches that need to be preserved, and I'd love to see AEW end up with that rather than WWE, because WWE has enough of their own back library. They have years and years and years of footage to draw upon, and they have their share. So if AEW wants to be competitive and wants to continue to build on the platform that they have, I really think that that buying up some of the old tape libraries of certain promotions would be beneficial to them. If they could even, oh man, I hate saying this, but even make some sort of arrangement with NWA to just put all that great history and tape library onto that streaming service as well, that would be great. I mean, I initially was kind of hoping that they would purchase NWA, but I don't think Billy Corrigan, current owner, would allow that to happen. But I would love to see like some NWA titles appearing on television again, since the only way to watch NWA now is through the Fight TV service. I mean, when they were putting shows on weekly on YouTube, that was something that my wife and I enjoyed immensely. So having that removed, and it was only an hour show, so having that removed hasn't been fun. So that's something too I would love to see, but I don't know if I want to. Like I said, I don't want to see another situation like what Vince did back in the 80s, gobbling up territories. I don't want to see Tony turn into a similar scenario, with AEW, because then that just kills competition. But unfortunately, AEW at this point is kind of killing a lot of the independent promotions, because a lot of the fans that were fans of some of these lesser promotions, now that AEW has signed some of these guys, even though you're still able to see AEW guys on other shows and other promotions, a lot of people are just tuning into AEW. So it's kind of killed the attendance at some of the other events that don't have some of the promotions that don't have television, that don't have a weekly show. It's kind of harmed them in some ways. So AEW has probably done more damage to the independent scene than it has to WWE, because WWE is going to continue to prosper. And despite whatever all the naysayers are saying, WWE's stock is still rising, and they're still continuing to put out product, and they're making $5 billion deals with NBC. So I don't see WWE going anywhere in the near future. They're not gonna go anywhere. They're gonna continue to do their thing, gonna continue to prosper, and continue to put out a PG product, because that's what their shareholders want. That's what brings people in the doors with their families, with their kids, and kids talk to parents, and parents buy merchandise. So, when you got that replica belts, and you've got the T-shirts and the little dolls and action figures and whatnot, that's a huge chunk of change right there, and that's mostly based off of children. So I don't see them changing their product anytime soon. Like I said, they have shareholders to answer. They have a standard to uphold, and I don't see them changing that anytime soon. If Tony Khan is smart, he'll accentuate the things in AEW that are different than WWE and go that route, rather than trying to be a WWE light, which I hope they don't take that strategy in the future, because TNA kind of took that way, and we all saw what happened there. Impact is a shell of its former promotion. Unfortunately, I mean, the show is almost unwatchable at this point, in my opinion. I don't enjoy watching a show at all, and there are some wrestlers on there I really enjoy. And that's why I said at the last show, please Bray Wyatt, don't go to Impact, please, because then I'll have to watch that and sit through it, and I don't see them doing anything with him that would, further his career in a way. I just see that as a dead end, unfortunately. But yeah, that's the real big news that's kind of happened recently. ROH releasing their wrestlers, and then on top of that, the WWE bus flip. Brings us to where we are right now. So, ROH didn't have a whole lot of big names when they released that, so I don't see most of those guys will go right back into the indie scene situation. I don't see a lot of them taking a huge hit because of ROH, so I don't think that's going to be a real big thing. But what happens to the tape library and the name, I think, is going to be really important thing to watch in the upcoming future, because that could turn the path of certain companies, and that could really be a game changer, I think, in my opinion, because that's one thing, like I said, AEW is lacking, is history. So if you were to purchase a tape library like that, I think that would help them out immensely. About the only person on there I can see, I know Jay Lethal was there, which thankfully I got a chance to meet years ago. Real great guy, but I see his future almost as a trainer. He really doesn't have the size, and he's older now. I don't see him signing with WWE. He was a great wrestler in his prime. He was a Ring of Honor champion, but I don't see him fitting into the WWE mold, unfortunately. But I think where he would prosper would be as a trainer. I know he's trained some people coming up, and I know he trained at one point AJ Lee, and that's where I can see him excelling. Somebody like him, because I really don't see him having a future. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I really do, but I can't see him fitting into the WWE mold. I really can't. Unless it is, like I said, as a booker, as a producer, or as a trainer. I think he'd excel in those areas, but as a wrestler, I really don't see much future potential growth for him. I think he's kind of on the downside of his career, unfortunately, and that has nothing to do. I found him, thoroughly entertaining when he was with TNA. I really enjoyed his stuff, but he should have been brought up years and years ago. I don't think, unfortunately, I don't see a whole lot of future for him at this point out in the ring. Or maybe his future might be on the mic. I don't know. He is very charismatic. He's really good. So maybe an announcer in the future. And maybe, there are possible. I just don't see it as a wrestler. I think that ship has unfortunately sailed, as much as it pains me to say that. I'm trying to bring up a list of wrestlers that were released from there, and not really coming up with anything here. But I'm gonna say this is WWE, unfortunately, released, but yeah, I don't know who else really was on the wrestler of any real impact. I know, if I'm not mistaken, I think Danhausen was on there too, and unfortunately he's recovering from a broken leg, a freak accident, unfortunately in Knoxville during a match. So he's got broken tibia, I believe, broken clean through, which really sucks, because I found him very, very entertaining. He's gonna be out in recovery for quite some time, but yeah, I don't know. They really didn't have a whole lot of talent signed at that point. That that's going to make a significant dent. And it's not like AEW can really gobble those guys up as far as the wrestlers. There's not a whole lot of not a whole lot of meat on that bone to pick off, unfortunately. I mean, like I said, that's been the real big talk, has been the Ring of Honor situation and the WWE releases, and that's huge. But aside from that, not a whole lot else to wrap up. I mean, looking forward to was it Full Gear coming up from for AEW? Hopefully that maybe we'll all have some predictions posted online about that. But that seems to be a real promising show. Real nice thing around here is in Memphis. I know that Dave & Buster's there will show Full Gear. You can actually view it for free. And actually, I know AEW has plans to put it out to some theaters too, which is going to be real cool. I know they did that in the past, but yeah, that's going to be real interesting. I know that the CM Punk and Eddie Kingston feud I really like, because I love both those guys, and that's going to be great on the mic. I'm hoping they draw that out quite a bit, and also the Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega. I'm really looking forward to. Going to be a real good culmination of that feud, I think, because I think both those guys are going to put on a killer, contribute to a killer match. I think so. So that's going to be real interesting coming down the pike, and that's going to be a whole lot of fun to watch. But like I said, around here in these parts in Tennessee, Memphis I know Memphis, they show that at the Dave & Buster's, so you don't have to pay the was it $50 or $60 for the pay-per-view, and that's coming up soon. That's coming up November 13th. Wow, that's this Saturday. Wow. So 8 p.m. Eastern time, but that should be a real good show. But hey, like I said, unfortunately, I haven't had a whole lot else prepared because of unforeseen, if I could actually speak today, sorry. Unforeseen, situation with my co-host not being here. Really, like I said, we had prepared to do the 5 most underrated and most overrated list. So it's kind of where we are as far as that goes. But looking forward to next week's show. Hopefully we pull things together and it'll be a lot better show. And but those are my comments and feelings on some of the news that's happened lately. I mean, like I said, I hate seeing anybody lose their job, but unfortunately we get this periodically from WWE, and they end up re-signing some of these people, and some of these people go on to bigger, better things. So I think they're just looking at the bottom line. What can they do creatively right at this moment? What do they have that's not redundant? They kind of look at where these wrestlers fit into the company, and if there's another wrestler that's similar or has similar attributes, they'll kind of look at that and go, which one's going to save us a little bit of money by cutting it. So that's kind of a thing they do. But like I said, yeah, they periodically do this. It's not a big deal. I mean, it is unfortunate that people lost their jobs, but I think they'll do okay in other promotions or possibly even future in WWE. But hey, let's start wrapping things up. That's kind of the show for today. I'd like to give a shout out to Then and Now Flea Market downtown Trenton. Go down there and purchase my CDs, and you can go purchase some handmade items from my wife. Really good stuff down there, along with a whole lot of other vendors who have some great products down there. Also, that's, like I said, check out jaygerr.com, JAYGERR.com. There you can go and listen to some of my music and maybe even purchase some if you feel like it. But yeah, check out KrushingKayfabe.com, Krushing with a K, and check us out. Follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and hear about our opinions on the latest news in wrestling and how our feelings are on that. And hopefully you enjoy the show. And once again, thank you very much. God bless.